Hey everybody, welcome back. Um, Thank you for tuning in. If you are joining us for the first time, if you like what I'm putting down, please like and subscribe. Those of y'all who come by who have not subscribed yet, please do. It helps me move through the algorithm because the algorithm is, well, it's messy. And it helps me break through the echo chamber. Okay, so I posed a poll asking what y'all would like to talk about in the upcoming podcast, and I've gotten feedback that y'all want to hear about the 14th Amendment. So there's so much happening that the 14th Amendment is super important, coming off of the no, so all roads lead to the South demonstration and march um, down south in Tennessee and Alabama and just all through the South. Okay. Um, they started in Selma, walking across Evan Pettus Bridge to the courthouse in Montgomery, Alabama, which, oh my gosh, I wished I could be there. That would just, oh, just to know that you participated in something like that. But we held a satellite um, event in my state, in my city, and which was beautiful. I mean, I live in a majority white city, and yes, I was the only black voice, but I have I had a whole bunch of modern day abolitionists at my back. I tell you what, it was beautiful. Not only do you did they take part in it, knowing the importance of it, because we know that whatever happens somewhere um, will affect you eventually. Martin Luther King said that um, in, injustice, when there's injustice somewhere, it's a threat to justice everywhere. That is not the correct quote, but it is it. That's what it what he meant. It'll eventually get to you. It'll eventually get to you. It will eventually trickle up from the south to the north. Um, you know, it's poison in the well. So, with that said, with the rollback of the 15th Amendment and gutting voting rights, disenfranchising thousands of black Americans from Democratic representation, calling it partisan uh, gerrymandering, cutting up the states, watering down, diluting the vote. Um, it's just because a lot of black folks are Democrats. That's what they're saying. Well, it, if black folks was Republicans, they wouldn't have no problem with it, right? No, no. It is to silence the black votes. There's a reason why the Republican black Congress, they're being kicked out of their seats. They're not going up for reelection. There's a reason why. It is to silence the black vote, no matter what side you stand on. Okay? It is it is simply racist. It is racism at its finest. There are no more hoods. Um, the hoods they've turned in for suits and jobs in the government, state, local government. Um, that's that's how I see it. So I want to go through the 14th Amendment, and then we're going to do a whole bunch of segues and see how it connects. Okay, I call this putting together the puzzle. All right. So I'm going to talk about the 14th Amendment now. The 14th Amendment is not just about citizenship. It goes deeper. So Section 1 is all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and the state within where they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges, immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction of equal protection under the laws. It seems pretty simple, but I'll dive deeper on that. Okay, so there is a controversy saying that, well, what if you're just passing through and have a baby? What if you're what if you're from another state or another country? What if, and you have a baby here but you don't have any want to stay here, you're going home. Well, if you were to, most likely those parents will not make their children citizens of the United States when they go home. They go through the motions of making sure that their child is a citizen of the country they came from. So then you talk about, all right, due process. Nor any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. You have to be able to stand in court. You must be represented. You have equal, no matter what race you are, no matter equal protections under the law. And no, I said all persons born. So it doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, black, white, orange, yellow, green, Christian, Muslim, non-religious, it does not matter. You are a person, all persons. Section 2. Representatives shall be apportioned among the several states according to their respective numbers, counting whole number of persons in each state. Now, you're wondering, a whole number of persons. You have to remember that black people, before Reconstruction, they were only 3/5 of a person. They were not a whole person. They did not feel that we were human. We were subhuman. Okay? They looked at us as animals. So, this gave us protections as being a whole person. Okay. Excluding Indians not taxed. But when the right to vote at any election for the choice of electors for President, Vice President of the United States, representatives in Congress and the executive and judicial officers of a state or members of the legislature thereof is denied to any of the male inhabitants of such state, being 21 years of age and citizens of the United States, or in any way abridged except for participation in rebellion or crime. The basis of representation therein shall be reduced in the proportion with which the number of such male citizens shall bear the whole number of male citizens 21 in age in such state. Now remember, it keeps saying male because women did not get the right to vote until well after this document was put in, amended, and ratified. Okay. Section 3. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president or vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state who have previously taken an oath. And I need y'all to hear this one, y'all. This one's important because this one should resonate with anyone who has opened a book, watched something on the news, know their laws, or even common sense. Okay? So let's start this real quick again. All right. No person shall be a senator, representative in Congress, or elector of president or vice president, or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state, who, having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or a member of any state legislature or as an executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may, by vote of 2/3 of each house, remove such disability. So we look at the occupant of the White House and what he done did at the January 6th insurrection. Not only did he participate by encouraging insurrection, not stopping insurrection until his family then begged him to stop, and then went ahead and pardoned anyone who has participated in insurrection. Think about that. Section 4. The validity of the public debt of the United States authorized by law, including debts incurred for payment or pensions and bounties of services in suppressing insurrection or rebellion, shall not be questioned. But neither the United States nor any state shall assume or pay any debt or obligation incurred in aid of insurrection or rebellion against the United States, or any claim for loss of emancipation of any slave. But all such debts, obligations, and claims shall be held illegal and void. Section 5. The Congress shall have power to enforce by appropriate legislation and provisions of this article. Well, Congress has been pretty fucking sloppy, haven't they? Now, I love Section 1 because it gives me and my ancestors the power, I'm not even going to say it's a privilege because, no, all men should be born free as a whole person. It takes this amendment. Makes racism accountable. It's sad that you have to have a piece of paper to stop or attempt to stop racism, to put racism in check, to check someone's privilege. What makes a piece of paper that makes people not superior under the law? All right, so now let's go to can the 14th Amendment be overturned? So there has been a controversy with Nathaniel Ledbetter, Speaker of the Alabama House, talking about The 15th Amendment rollback gutting was, great, but their work isn't done yet because they still have to roll back the 14th Amendment. Which part of the 14th Amendment, may I ask? Is it the part of it that says that, insurrections are just fine? Is it the part that says that you can't be an insurrectionist and the president or vice president or anyone who holds office? Is it the part that says Congress does not have to enforce, that Congress has to enforce any legislation and provision of this article? Or is it the part that says that all persons born or naturalized in the United States are subject to the jurisdiction thereof, are citizens of the United States and the state of which and where they reside? And is it the part that says, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws? Is it that? Which part is it that needs to be rolled back? Well, from the evidence that has been given so far by the southern states of these United States, I call them the old Confederacy, redistricting, partisan gerrymandering, and the dilution of the black vote and black power and, black voting power and black legislative power. That goes to tell me a whole lot. When it comes to this administration and pulling out DEI, thinking that, see, this is the thing that gets me with these, cracker Klansmen, is that they feel that DEI is saying that is the same as affirmative action. They say that affirmative action, excuse me, says that just because you're black, you get this job. Just because you're gay, you get this job. Just because you're a woman, you get this job. No. We are qualified to have these jobs and these positions. We went to school to get these jobs and these positions. We graduated with honors, or hell, got a degree to make us qualified in these jobs. And you feel that since you're white, you have privilege to have these jobs before anybody else. That's what I'm seeing. Your whiteness is, you should be pick me first for these positions. Well, I think that's pretty bigoted and racist. I feel that no, are you crazy? You have the White House, you have the Supreme Court, you have the House of Representatives, you have the Senate, and you have the majority of the country. You are the majority, and you feel that 16% of black folks is trying to replace you? Have you lost your damn mind? You feel so threatened because other people live in this melting pot then that you feel that you're being replaced. You feel that sharing art, you done took our food, you done took our music, and I'm just not talking about black folks. You love a taco, don't you? I see you at these Ethiopian restaurants, these Chinese restaurants, these Japanese restaurants, because you love that culture, right? And have to eat all their food up because it's a wonderful, right? It's tasty, right? But when when it's time for anything else, when you want your heritage, when you want your entitlement, when you don't want us around, you just want what you want from us. You want our food. You want our music. You want all that stuff. You want our cultural shit. But you don't want us around. Okay. All right. I see you. I see you. Now, with that all said, we cannot go forward in silence. It's complicity. We cannot go along to get along any longer. We have to raise our voices, because once they take away the 15th Amendment, they're going to go to the 14th Amendment. They're going to go to the 19th Amendment. They're going to go to any civic amendment that's outside of the 10 in the Constitution already. And they are going to try to weed all of us out so that they have their white Christian heritage culture. Well, some of these Christians forgot how to open up their Bible because they're letting a Middle Eastern, or I call him Black Jesus, but they're letting they're letting a Middle Eastern Jewish man who was an immigrant as the cornerstone of their religion, and they're going to usher him in as the great white hope to white America. No. And I know some of y'all, you're like, Christianity is, white folks had Christianity. White folks brought Christianity to Africa. My loves, if you really think about this, if you really read if you look at, oh Lord, why don't I have Bible in front of me? The day of Pentecost. The day of Pentecost, it was during Passover. And if you look at the map of where all of this was taking place at, people migrated from all over the Middle East and Africa to Jerusalem for Passover. And it was also their census. They had to, and it was also Jubilee. A lot was going on at that point in time. Jubilee was when it was their day of freedom. Any kind of debt, any kind of indenture and self-enslavement, because slavery back then, you could put yourself into it to work off debt for a number of years until that debt has been repaid. That was a time of freedom. It was not a lifelong thing. I mean, it goes deeper. It's another conversation for another time. But you had people from Egypt, people from Somalia, you had people from Ethiopia come. What race was that? So, Christianity, on the day of Pentecost, when that first sermon was preached, it was preached to the masses and of all ethnicities at that point. Okay? All right. I know. I had to go a little into Bible. That's a whole other conversation on a whole different time. But let's get back to 14th Amendment. All right. So, oh gosh. But we can't let this happen. That's why we go out there and we fight and we vote and we raise our voices in protest, because that is what the First Amendment gives us. It all comes together. We cannot let the strippings of all of our rights and freedoms be taken down to nothing. Okay? So, there is this thing called the Convention of States. And I'm going to tell you how the Convention of States how it can be used to roll back and gut not just the 14th Amendment, but all of them. Okay? Now, the first part of it, it's going to sound legit, like, okay, all right, I'm down with that. But then I'll tell you how it can flip. All right? The Convention of States is a political movement and initiative that seeks to invoke Article 5 of the U.S. Constitution to call a national convention for proposing amendments. The primary goal of the movement is to limit power and jurisdiction of the federal government, impose fiscal restraints on federal spending, and establish term limits for federal officials and members of Congress. Okay? Under Article 5, if 34 state legislatures, 2/3 of the states, pass applications calling for such a convention, Congress is required to call it. Any amendments proposed by the convention must be then ratified by 38 states, 3/4 of the states, to become part of the Constitution. The movement is primarily organized by such groups like Citizens for Self-Governance and Convention States Action. The supporters argue that the convention is a necessary check on federal overreach and way for states to reclaim power. Critics, including organizations like Common Cause and various legal scholars, warn that the process lacks clear rules, potentially allowing delegates to propose unlimited changes to the Constitution beyond the stated topics, which could jeopardize existing rights and structures in the government. I hope you heard me. There are no limits on what can be proposed for changes. That means there is no scope. All right. Under Article 5, if 34 states do this, they can alter constitutional rights. So remember I said no limit on scope. The Constitution provides no rules of how Article 5 Convention would operate. No rules. They can make rules as they go because the Constitution did not feel that this shit was going to be happening. Benjamin Franklin said, "This is a republic if you can keep it." There's always an if. The founding fathers thought that they had a lock solid document of how this was going to run. They did not foresee what we could turn it into. Okay? So, no scope. Legal experts, including former Supreme Court justices, warned that there are no enforceable mechanism to limit the convention to specific topics. Even if states apply for a convention on one issue, delegates can propose amendments on abortion, gun rights, voting rights, or civil liberties. Say you're there to propose an amendment to the First Amendment. While they're tearing down some of our First Amendment, like the freedom to worship freely or not worship at all, they can go ahead and propose something on the Gun Rights Act or voting rights. And we're here for voting rights today. The potential targets, critics argue that any right can be at risk, such as free speech, privacy, equal protection, religious freedom, other rights or the right to counsel, because the entire Constitution would be up for grabs. We already see such things on the table right now, especially privacy. That's going to be another episode. No references. No referees. So when there's no referees, when we think of referees, we think of a judge. The Supreme Court does not participate in the Convention of States. They have indicated if they would not intervene, there will be no judicial oversight to prevent radical changes. So after it's done, it's just done. Okay? So now you see that our fight isn't over because their fight isn't. What did I tell you? It takes 34 states to come to an agreement. Okay? So let's talk about how many states we got in here. Give me 1 second. Let me pull up what I got going on here. Now I know that I pulled it up and now the stuff wants to go away. All right, that's fine. Let's ask again. Give me 2 seconds, folks. How many states are in the Convention of States? So also, you have to apply to be in the Convention. Okay? So, when you status, when you apply, it takes a little bit for it to, why doesn't it want to tell me? I'm being sabotaged. United States Convention. Okay. All right. So the notable states that have passed resolution, it's 20 states so far. And that would be, come on. I don't know why it's taking this so long. Come on, come on, come on. We don't have the bandwidth to wait, people. All right. Collaborate. Okay. We have Georgia, Alaska, Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, Indiana, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arizona, North Dakota, Texas, Missouri, Arkansas, Utah, Mississippi, Wisconsin, Nebraska, West Virginia, South Carolina, and Kansas. That's 20. We need 14 more. 14 more. I wonder how that's going to work out. That's why we're in this fight. That's why the 14th Amendment is very important right now, so that we keep our citizenship, that because we were born here. All right? That we are not 3/5 of a person. We are not subhuman. That we do not get remigrated somewhere, which is also on this table. Remigration, a far-right European plan to expel minorities and immigrants from Western nations, may soon have a dedicated office following a Trump administration reorganization of the State Department. So they already have put a Department of Remigration into the State Department, and they're using that. They're saying that it is for people that self-deport will have that they'll get $2,000 to self-deport. That is their payment for saying, oh, we'll go on home. That's their reparation. So, in the meantime, they're going to make it as uncomfortable and hard as possible to live in the United States. So, if you are naturalized, and if you lose naturalization, which is held up by the 14th Amendment, their goal is to change the language of the Constitution. And when they say change the language, they're talking about what is that word? They want to reinterpret the Constitution to fit their mold, just like they changed Christianity. This new white Christian nationalism. Their fake grace. Knowing daggone well that's not what Jesus was. But again, another conversation, because that still pisses me off. Anyway, very, very important. As part of a sweeping reorganization of the State Department, the Trump administration is creating an Office of Remigration. Remigration is an immigration policy embraced by extremists that call for the removal of all migrants, including non-assimilated citizens, with goal to creating a whole ethno states and Western countries. So if you can't assimilate into whiteness, if you can't assimilate, now I understand learning the language. Yeah, if you come here, if you want to live here, if you want to be a part of our of the of these United States, you have to be able to um, uh, communicate with everybody. And no, we don't have one main language here. We have people speak all sorts of languages, but in the workplace, um, you're going to have to know some English, right? I mean, so uh, I see assimilating as for language. I get that because we have to communicate. But you can't assimilate your color. You cannot forsake your God if you're not a Christian to live in a Christian nation and to worship a Christian God or a Jewish God, because it's the same God. Um, you can't do that. That's forsaking who you are. Okay? Which would be the First Amendment. See how the attacks go? The attacks don't only hit one thing, they hit all, okay? So the details of the plan are contained in the 136-page notification document sent to the State Department to 6 congressional committees, including the House of Foreign Affairs and Appropriations Committees and the Senate Foreign Relations Committee for approval by July 1st, according to a copy reviewed by Wired. Now, this article by Wired was on May 28th, 25. So this is already happening. Around the end of 2025, the occupant in the White House put a thing out saying, all that I want for Christmas is remigration. He did not just mean brown people. He meant black people. They want to make this a white nation. White nation. Okay? All right. So, this is why I couldn't just do the 14th Amendment. I had to put the Convention of States in there because they need help. They need 34 states just to do this. And they're well on their way. Is your state one of them, and what do they think about it? Think about that too. A lot of these states are blue states, which means that they will vote against it. But we'll see how that goes. But until then, we have a fight. We have a lot of work to do. And it all starts where you wake up. It starts in your cities. It starts in your counties. It starts in your towns. That's where this all starts. Because if they feel that we are such a daggone threat, they think that they can do this to squash us, to quiet us. Because our power is people power. The people are bigger than the government. The government is to give us guidance. The government is to give us laws to live by. The government is so that we don't all go out and, be doing all sorts of, killing, stealing, and destroying. But it is a tool that we pay for. We are taxed for. So if you're going to tax us, then we need our representation. We need to be represented by who by our people. I'm not going to go ask someone who has no want of my ideals, of my values to represent me. Why would I ask that of them? And why would they give that to me? You know? Okay, so just things to think about. Think about all of this. Um, we're coming on tough times. We all see it. We can no longer deny it. Even the white folks, the folks of privilege who have need for nothing, they are feeling it too. Don't let them fool you. Our healthcare system is failing. The healthcare to our veterans is crumbling. We are making a wage that is higher, but our bills surpass our bring home. We cannot afford the grocery store. We cannot. We can't afford gas. And Ted Cruz had the caucasity to say that long-term gain for short-term pain. We're all supposed to be okay with this. The man in the White House, the occupier, has the caucasity to say that he does not care about the financial situation of us Americans. Because he was even given a way out by elaborating, and he stuck to his. He doubled down. He does not care about us. He does not care about the color of your skin. He does not care about the job you go to. He does not care about your illnesses. He does not care what you ate for dinner last night. He does not care if you are frying bologna. He gives nothing for us. He is a grifter. And those of y'all who bought all of this, all of his stuff, these phones, come on now. Y'all gave him $100 for a down payment on a phone that y'all have not seen. No, and they had no intention on giving it to you until it has hit independent news, and now they want to give you a cell phone from a free, the free phone they give you on the T-Mobile. The crap phone. They want to give you that. They want to give you that. And this phone is geared towards old people. He has told you that he loves the uneducated. He has told you that he does not like smart people because smart people see through him. He has said he likes to keep the uneducated around him. He does not like pretty people. He does not like to have good-looking people around him because it makes him feel better. He has never, if you think about it, he told all of us exactly what he was going to do, how he was going to do it. And y'all thought it was a joke. Oh, he was just joking, says Caroline Levitt. He was just joking. The man doesn't joke. He don't know funny if it hit him in his bone. All he knows how to do is grift for power. And by the way, that phone, that $100 deposit phone, it only costs $126 on the internet. It costs less than $100 refurbished. And I'm sure by the way, it's made in China, and you were told by his children that they were going to get made in America phones. He knows how to lie to his base. He lies to y'all just fine. The rest of us, he tells us the straight up truth. Okay, I can't be angry with this cute little face right in front of me. Y'all. All right. So, study. Go out there. Vote. The vote is the battle. Even if your state is gerrymandered, you cannot, you have to go out there. It's the only voice we have. It's the only thing they listen to. And at the end of it, if we go out there in the masses, they will say that it's rigged. We know these people that we're dealing with. We see how they are, how they're operating, how they're working. And we're just going to have to do what we got to do, because us Americans, we have audacity. We are an audacious people. We see our injustices. It's just, where's the line that we draw? I have learned that I am no longer going to argue and fight or try to make people see reason, because it's not my responsibility. It is not my responsibility whatsoever. My responsibility is to make sure that people can make a thoughtful choice. My responsibility is to educate those who want to be educated. That is my, move it over, girl. That's Charlie. That is my responsibility. You can only guide somebody to water. You can't make them drink. Okay? All right. With that said, I'm going to get on out of here. With that said as well, I would just very much encourage y'all to meet people. Get out of your house and meet people. Meet community groups. There are community groups popping up everywhere for mutual aid. Community groups that are teaching skill building, how to grow gardens, how to make a stand, how to get to know your lawmakers and your states. There are so many things going around right now for us to be able to educate ourselves. Please get educated. Do your research. Don't just listen to somebody and think that it is gold. If you feel that you're getting poor, find out why. If you think that your bills are going up higher, find out why. If you see that you are not getting quality food at a grocery store and where those products are going, and find out why. You'll be surprised. You'll be amazed of what you find. And all of that information is right there at our fingertips. Okay? All right. I know this is long and drawn out, and I know I went on a few little tangents, even though I had my little list all laid out how I wanted to go, but I got to start thinking and talking at the same time. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I apologize. But all right, y'all. Don't let the bastards grind you down. I'll talk to you later. Bye.